Defending against punches isn't anything to do with reflexes. It's about anticipating which punch is coming next. In this video, I'm going to show you the simple 3-pillar system that you can use to see punches coming before they're thrown, how both my students and elite pro fighters use this exact same system to dominate in the ring, and the one simple way you can start applying it in your boxing from today. Now, before we get into it, you might be thinking, since when did Artur Beterbiev and Caleb Plant have a child? Who is this bloke on my screen? Well, I'm a former amateur boxer and a current boxing coach, and I've taught thousands of people how to box online by giving them clear systems to follow and fixing their bad habits. So, let's get into pillar 1. If you're struggling to avoid punches, it's usually not because you're slow. It's because you don't yet understand where you're exposed after you punch. So, let me show you what I mean. One of my students joined my academy because he kept getting countered every time he threw his right hand. He'd been going on Instagram, doing random defense drills, trying to improve his reflexes and trying to get quicker, but nothing was changing. He kept getting hit. He started losing his enjoyment for the sport and he was on the verge of quitting. I watched his footage once and the issue was obvious. He had no idea where he was open after throwing his right hand. So we didn't work on speed, we didn't work on reactions. Instead, I showed him this. Every time you throw a right hand shot, the right side of your face is exposed, which means a left hook is likely coming back. So rather than reacting after the punch, we trained him to expect the counter and roll to his right automatically. The same idea with the left hand. Throw a lead hook, you're open on the left side, so practice rolling left. After he learned this, he now had a built-in defense every time he threw an attack. He took it straight into sparring and said it worked like magic. It was the first time ever that he had fun in sparring, and he can't wait for his next sparring session. The key takeaway here is simple. Instead of reacting in the moment, you simply need to know where you're open after every punch that you throw. So, once you understand where you're open after you punch, the next question becomes, what about before anyone throws? This is where most beginners completely panic. I had a student who absolutely hated sparring. He said to me, whenever I'm standing in front of someone, how am I meant to defend if they can literally throw anything? And it's a fair question. In sparring, he was standing there completely overwhelmed, trying to prepare for every possible punch. Straight shots, body shots, hooks, uppercuts. His brain was overloaded and he was freezing. So instead of teaching him more defenses, I showed him one simple rule based on his head position, and it changed everything. Here's the rule. Depending on where your head is, there are punches your opponent cannot throw. For example, if your opponent is on your right hand side, you don't need to panic about right hands or right hooks. Those punches don't make sense. They'd be punching outside of their shape with no power. From that position, you should mainly be expecting left hands and left hooks. So your job becomes simple. Be ready to roll or block on that side. Now just flip that idea. If your opponent is on your left hand side, you should be expecting right hands, not jabs or left hooks. And here's the important part. If your opponent is standing directly in front of you, especially at range, it's very difficult for your opponent to throw hooks from this position without setting them up first. So the punches that you should prioritize are straight punches, the jab and the cross. Once my student understood this, that feeling of overwhelm disappeared completely. He had a structured system for his defense and he went on to win his next fight. The takeaway is simple. Your head position narrows down which punches your opponent can throw at you. And once you know what's likely, anticipation becomes easier and defense becomes far simpler. Now, this is the part most beginners never understand, and it's what keeps them stuck for years. Have a look at this clip of Gamboa versus Cruz. Watch Gamboa, who is standing on the left. Do you notice anything about his jab? Let me slow it down slightly. Do you see that little movement right before the jab comes out? That small twitch. The punch hasn't even been thrown yet, but he's already showing Cruz what he's about to throw. And that's why Cruz is able to dip under it so cleanly. Cruz isn't reacting to the jab, he's reading it before it's thrown. And this is what most beginners forget. Punches don't come out of nowhere. They're shown to you by the body first. So watch your opponent in the first 30 seconds of the fight and learn their habits. Do they lower their hand slightly before they punch? Do they tense up? Do they pull their hand back? Gather that data and then use it against them. Now, the thing is, everything I've just told you is useless unless you learn how to punish your opponent after you make them miss. So watch this video next to learn the one simple principle heavy hitters use to generate real knockout power.